Today, your learning objective is I will be able to solve proportions. Okay, essential question, how do you solve proportions? Okay, first thing, we need to know what a ratio is. This is some of your vocabulary. A ratio is a fraction that represents a relation between two quantities. Okay, basically it's a fraction. It can be written as 1/2. Or you could say 1/2, 2. Or you could say 1:2. All of these symbolize a ratio. Right? Then a proportion. A proportion is two ratios equal to each other. Just set them equal to each other. Okay? If you have a proportion, if two ratios are equal to each other, so if A over B is equal to C over D, then you can cross multiply. A times D is going to be equal to B times C. Right, now we're going to use that formula. So if you have a proportion and you have two fractions set up equal to each other, then you can cross multiply. Some of you might hear cross multiply, do the butterfly. I think some of the 8th grade teachers taught it that way, but you cross multiply and then you solve for the variable, if there is a variable. Right, one of the things that you're going to have to do today is you're going to have to be able to determine if you're given two fractions, are they proportional? So the way you do that is you would set them equal to each other. Okay, then we're going to cross multiply. So 4 times 16 is equal to 6 times 12. Okay, 4 times 16 is 64. 6 times 12 is 72. They are not equal to each other, so these are not proportional. Okay, now let's come over here and look at number 2. We've got 3/5, set it equal to 6/10. Cross multiply, so you have 3 times 10 is equal to 5 times 6. 3 times 10 is 30. 5 times 6 is 30. That is correct. So yes, these are proportional. Okay, so to find out if two fractions are proportional to each other, set them equal to each other, cross multiply. The two numbers equal, they are a proportion. Are proportional. Okay, now here are some of the problems that we're going to be solving. These have variables. Okay, one thing you need to remember when you're doing this is if there's more than one term on top or over here on bottom, you need to make sure you put parentheses around it. Okay, then if this is a proportion, so we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to go 3 times x gives me 3x. 7 times those parentheses right there. 7 times parentheses x plus 2. Okay, now we're just going to use our equation skills. We're going to do the distributive property. 7x. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, then you're going to do letters left. You get a negative 4x here. 14 right there. There's no numbers to move to the right, so we're going to divide. And your answer is a negative 14 over 4. Now, that's not in a reduced form. We can reduce that. Each one of them, 2 can go into each one, so it's a negative 7 over 2. So your answer here is x is equal to negative 7 over 2. Inside your quiz that you'll be filling in, you'll only be filling in the fraction. Okay, so you don't say x equal. You would just put it like this, negative 7 divided by 2. Okay, because a fraction is just a division. Come over here to number 4. Let's cross multiply. So I get 3 times x plus 6 is equal to x times 5. X times 5 is 5x. Okay, use the distributive property, so you get 3x plus 18 is equal to 5x. Letters to the left, move my 5x over. You get a negative 2x plus 18 equals 0. Okay, those cancel out, but you have to have something over there, so make sure you put the 0. Then numbers to the right. You get a negative 2x equals negative 18. Divide, divide. You get x equals 9. Right, so your answer is x equals 9, but you want to put in 9 in the quiz today. Remember, that's your assignment quiz. That's just where you fill in the answers. Right? Let's go over here. Now we're going to talk about some word problems. Oops. All right, so in here you're going to look for a ratio. Right? And if I look, it says, in a recent survey, 2 out of 3. Okay, 2 out of. That's another way when you say something like 2 out of 3. That's a ratio. So it's the same thing as 2 to 3 or 2 over 3. Okay, so it's the same type of thing. Out of 3 is another way to say a ratio. Now you want to look for the words because we need to make sure that we know what's the 2 and what's the 3. So it says 2 out of 3 chose cavity toothpaste. So I'm going to set up my ratio in words. That's chose cavity toothpaste. I'm just going to put chose cavity. And the other number is the total survey. That's the total number of dentists that were surveyed. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here and my 2 out of 3 goes right there. Now, in these type of word problems, you're always going to find another number. And here's one right here. If I keep reading, it says, if 12 dentists chose cavity, how many were surveyed? Okay, so you need to know, where do I put that 12? Am I going to put it on the top as a numerator or the denominator? Well, it says here, chose cavity. Since chose cavity is on top, I'm going to put my 12 on top. Then my variable would go right down here. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the number that were surveyed. Okay, so I'm going to cross multiply. So 2 times x is 2x equals 3 times 12. 3 times 12 is 36. Right, so I have 2x equals 36, divide by 2. And my x is equal to 18. Normally when we're solving word problems, I'd ask you what actually the 18 is. And the 18 is the total survey, total dentist surveyed if you want to be accurate. In your quiz on Canvas, just fill in the 18. All right, let's come over here and look at number 6. Okay, number 6, Hershey Foods makes a batch of chocolate with 75 pounds of cocoa beans. If we know what the ratio, all right, here we go, of cocoa beans to milk. So I'm going to say cocoa beans are cocoa beans over milk. So we know they already gave it to us in words. And then they're telling us it's 5 to 4. Okay, they're asking how many gallons of milk. So we're looking for the milk. So my milk is down here. I'm just going to use the variable m. Can they make with what? Well, right up here, 70 pounds, 75 pounds of cocoa beans or cocoa beans, 75. Okay, so now cross multiply. 5 times m equals 4 times 75. Okay, so work 4 times 75. 4 times 75 is 300. Divide 300 by 5, right? Divide both sides by 5. And m is 60. Okay, what is your m? It's 60 gallons of milk. That's a lot of milk. Okay, in Canvas, you would just put the 60. Right, let's go down here to number 7. In the movie Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs were scale models, and so was the sports utility vehicle that the T-Rex overturned. That's in Jurassic Park, the very first one. The vehicle was made to scale. Okay, it's made to scale. So it's 1 to 8. So there's my ratio, 1 over 8. Now we got to think about this. You're looking at models, okay? So a model would be the smaller number. Here's the model. This one would be your actual size. Okay? Then it says the actual vehicle was about 14 feet long. Something I want you to make sure you check is this right here, this 1 to 8, we're in inches. Now we've got 14 foot. Before we can use that 14 foot or even put it anywhere in our ratio, they have to have the same units. So we're going to change this by multiplying by 12. We're going to change it to inches. Okay, so 14 times 12 is 168 inches. Okay, because you have to have inches with inches, feet with feet. We could have also tried to change it into feet, but we only have 8, so it would make it a little bit of a decimal or a fraction. So it's better to use the 168. Okay, where do I put that 168 inches? It says the actual size right there. So I'm going to come here, find my actual. It's down at the bottom. In the denominator, I'm going to put 168 inches right there. Then it says, what is the length of the model of the sports utility vehicle? So I'm just going to put that in right there for model. And then I'm going to cross multiply. Now, it doesn't matter if you go the top diagonal before the bottom diagonal. I'm going to go like this because I want my 8m just to go ahead and be on the left side so I don't have to move it. And then right over here, 1 times 168 is just 168. Okay, then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. And I get 168 divided by 8 is 21. So your model is 21. Remember, we're in inches. So this, if you were writing it out, you'd say that the sports vehicle is 21 inches. On Canvas, just write the 21. Okay, that's it.